This man can be considered the happiest man in the world. Although lost on a deserted island, he has a beautiful companion. This woman behaved very intimately with him. She was extremely pleased with his performance on the deserted island. But actually, a few days ago, they were just strangers, not knowing each other at all. The woman's name is Jennifer, with her husband Jack and their friends rented a yacht to the middle of the sea to hold the sea party. Beautiful, large sea and blue sky are suitable for relaxation. People drink wine, fish together, they have a great time. Unexpectedly, disasters coming soon, and there's a big fire in the cabin for unknown reasons. Strong sea breezes caused the fire to spread quickly. The captain had to give an order to abandon the ship and flee on the lifeboat. The crowd quickly boarded the lifeboat. The yacht soon exploded. In the evening, they encountered heavy storms again. After several struggles, only Jennifer survived. Fortunately, she has washed up on this deserted island. When she woke up, there was no shadow of living creatures at all. In the scorching sun, she could only hide under the wreckage of the ship, waiting for rescue. Suddenly, she saw someone also drifting ashore. She hurried to rescue that man and then pulled him back to the shore with great effort. Looking closely, it was the captain, but he didn't seem to breathe. The crew member, Ricky, appeared suddenly, but he couldn't save the man either. When night fell, Jennifer shivered because of cold and the pouring rain. Ricky took off his shirt intimately and hugged her. After daybreak, while Jennifer was still asleep, Ricky had woken up to work. He is extremely flexible. Ricky uses a diving goggles, diving into the sea. The sea snail he caught was the breakfast for two. Although Jennifer didn't want to eat raw conch, for the sake of survival she just had to. Unlike Jennifer, who is eagerly waiting for rescue, Ricky thinks that he is lucky when he is still alive. After that, the two trash pickers were washed ashore on branches on the deserted island to make a simple tent. Although the four sides are not covered, it can cover the two of them from the sun, and then Jennifer has gradually become accustomed to this life on a deserted island. She took off her bikini, then went swimming in the sea to exercise with Ricky. Don't think about it, Jennifer and Ricky are purely just swimming together. This is so nice. See, you have to learn to trust me. When going ashore, Ricky didn't forget to tease Jennifer. Jennifer was not angry either. After all, the two would sleep together every day. Even though the two of them wore clothes to sleep, they still felt awkward sleeping in the same bed. Relying on Ricky's superb diving skills, he continues to discover new places to find food. Today he went into the sea with a craft harpoon and swam to a coral reef. As he thought, he caught a big lobster. When he came to the surface, he saw a man groaning lying on the beach. After seeing him alive, Ricky took him back to the camp. And this man is Jennifer's husband, Jack. He was washed up on the reef and thought he was dead. Unexpectedly, he not only was rescued, but also saw his wife again. Seeing the happy and warm union of the couple, Ricky felt a little lonely. Because it was clear that Ricky and Jennifer were living happily together on the deserted island, suddenly Jack's arrival broke the atmosphere between the two. If he knew the situation was like this, Ricky would rather not save Jack, let the sharks eat him. After a night of rest, Jack's spirit was much better. At this time, he suddenly saw his wife wearing a bikini with shirtless Jack playing in the sea. They laughed while catching fish together. This scene infuriated Jack. When the two came back to the camp, Jack lit the branches with the lighter in his hand. He was trying to show off in front of Ricky. Ricky is also unhappy about this. The grilled fish suddenly didn't taste good anymore. Jack took this opportunity to claim sovereignty over Jennifer. This scene makes Ricky feel jealous. Although Jack showed great happiness on his face, inside he felt uncomfortable because of Ricky's existence. He completely forgot who saved his life. He first blamed his wife and Ricky for living together in a small camp. Then he asked Ricky. His question was about the shipwreck. Why did Ricky prepare diving goggles in advance? Did Ricky mean to cause the shipwreck? Because of these suspicions, Jack and Ricky's relationship is not good. While Ricky and Jenny went fishing, Jack moved all of Ricky's things to under the shipwreck, then built his own tent. His wife, Jenny, is very dissatisfied with his behavior. She explained repeatedly that nothing happened between herself and Ricky. Jack should not treat Ricky, who saved his life, like that. But Jack didn't listen to Jennifer's words. He appeared indifferent. Jennifer just had to walk over to apologize to Ricky. Unexpectedly, Jack also approached Ricky, apologizing to Ricky reluctantly, even a little mockingly. This made Ricky unbearable. He angrily said everything he thought. He won't care about Ricky anymore, leaving Jack to find food by himself. And he won't use Jack's lighter to make a fire anymore. The two men separated. Jennifer was the only one stuck in the middle. She felt helpless, but had to follow her husband. It was obvious that Jack had overestimated his own abilities. He can't catch fish. He just had to search in the mangrove areas, luckily catching a few crabs. But in the end, the couple just had to dive into the sea to catch fish. Based on what they learned from Ricky, the two finally caught a conch. As for Ricky, he came ashore with a lot of food in his hand. He caught a lot of fresh fish. Ricky also dries the fish to make it tastier. Jack did not give up. He continued to find food. Jennifer now felt extremely hungry. She could only walk over to Ricky with a shy expression. Although before that, Ricky felt unhappy because Jennifer was following Jack, but he still happily shared his fish with her. By this time, Jennifer was full. She saw Jack coming ashore and hurriedly hid the food Ricky gave her. She hastily wiped her mouth to delete evidence. Their fake relationship just continued. Nevertheless, the war between the two men finally started. When Jack found out that Ricky had stolen the fire at his tent, he can't stand to insult Ricky. Ricky also did not give up. He picked up a branch to fight back. Two men were fighting like this. Despite Jennifer's best efforts to dissuade them, the two still got into a fight. Finally, Ricky raised his harpoon towards Jack. The battle between the two men was finally over, but then Jack stole Ricky's fish. He sees it as a trade-in for Ricky stealing his fire. Early the next morning, Jack took the opportunity. Jennifer and Ricky were sleeping when they stole Ricky's diving goggles, which Ricky used to dive and catch fish. He even made a sharp harpoon last night. This hunt, Jack certainly caught a lot of fish. If he had been braver, he might have even caught sharks. Jack returned Ricky's diving goggles. Ricky was not angry at all. His eyes were still a little mocking. Jennifer was extremely worried and sad. Only then did Jack realize something wrong had happened. Under his persecution, Jenny finally told the truth. It turned out that Jack was furious when he discovered that the goggles had been stolen. He picked up the harpoon and went to kill Jack. After all, because of her husband, Jennifer couldn't stand still. She couldn't let Jack get into a dangerous situation. Two people fighting at sea with each other. Finally, they 69. Jack, after hearing the truth, was extremely angry. He grabbed Jennifer by the hair and threw her over to Ricky's tent. The couple eventually disbanded. Jack left the place and went deep in the forest. He made his own diving goggles out of bottles and rubber bands. Once he was diving under the sea, he discovered a shipwreck. He saw that the boat had a hole in it. He could fix it. He did not inform the other two about this. He used all his strength to pull the boat to shore. In the end, Jack succeeded. After Jenny and Ricky found out, they hurriedly stepped forward to help, but were rejected. A few days later, the boat has been successfully repaired by Jack. Ricky had evil thoughts. While Jack was going to fish, he woke Jennifer. The two, with the same spirit as a marathon runner, they ran towards the boat and pushed it out to sea. Jack just emerged from the water and saw this action of them. He rushed over, but it was too late. In the end, he could only watch the two leave by boat. When the two of them were gone, Jack turned around, revealing a wicked smile. Did he do it on purpose? Did he intentionally build a boat for them to escape? He sat down on a chair, then took out a coconut to drink, eyes darting in the direction of Ricky and Jennifer. He looked very satisfied. Suddenly, the boat started to sink. Actually, Jack hasn't fixed this boat yet. He let them run away because he wanted them to drown in the vast ocean. After the rescue boat sank, the two could only swim back. At this time, Ricky's tent was finally burned down by Jack. After swimming for several hours, the exhausted two finally came ashore. Jack took advantage of Ricky's lack of energy and stabbed him with a harpoon. He also treated Jennifer like a trophy, tying her to his side. At night, Ricky attacks Jack. Finally, Jennifer also desperately chose to get rid of the restraints and ran to help. In the end, Jack almost caught fire before he stopped fighting. The next day, Jack went crazy and wanted to kill them. At the same time, Ricky was bleeding profusely. He was discovered by Jack. After a fierce battle, Ricky was finally stabbed in the heart by Jack. A year later, while Jennifer was lying in a tent, a family found her. She was delighted, but she did not call Jack back. Jack was going fishing in the distance. Before leaving, Jenny didn't forget to take his lighter. By this way, the rescued Jenny was able to return to modern society. When Jack, who was fishing, came out of the water, Jenny didn't notify that family. She left, looking at Jack with excitement, then anger, and finally despair. The boat went farther and farther away, the sound of the engine drowning out Jack's screams for help. Jenny on the deck, just looking at him with a smile on her face. Without a lighter, how would Jack live? If at first the three of them lived in harmony with each other, now the three of them will be saved together. The movie 3 has shown us that, as long as there is unity, we can survive. Plus, wars always happen for women. In difficult circumstances, a person's personality will be revealed. How will you survive if you get washed up on a deserted island? Okay, the film is over. If you like this film, please like and share.